Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of Learn and Invest with Gabriel B. Ajak. Today is April 12th, 2026. I am your lead host, Mira Astros. In this video, we break down the system of corporate control engineered by John D. Rockefeller and how it shapes your life today. So picture this. It's 1870. A 31-year-old man in Cleveland, Ohio controls just 4% of America's oil refining, a tiny slice. But fast forward just one decade, and he controls 90%. His name was John D. Rockefeller. And the thing is, the corporate structures, the monopolistic tactics, the very system he perfected didn't die when his company was broken up. Oh no, they evolved, they spread. And right now, they control your life. The gas you pump, the platforms you use, the banks you borrow from, they are all operating from the exact same 150-year-old playbook. You know, understanding that design isn't just some academic exercise. It's a matter of economic survival. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the invisible architecture that governs our economy. Then, we'll meet the architect himself, John D. Rockefeller. After that, we are diving deep into his 5-part blueprint for control. From there, we'll see how that exact same method is being used today, before we wrestle with the big paradox of why this system is still around. And finally, we'll talk about your strategic response. All right, let's start with the central problem here, these unseen systems that quietly limit our economic choices. We live in a world that bombards us with what feels like endless choice, right? But just beneath the surface, there's a remarkably rigid and, frankly, intentionally designed structure at play. It's a system built to channel our decisions, our money, and our attention in very, very specific directions. Think about it. You pull up to a gas station and you choose between Exxon, Chevron, or BP. You go online and choose between Google and, well, let's be honest, it's pretty much just Google. You're scrolling social media, picking between Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp. But are those real choices? Or are you just picking between different branches on the same tree? I mean, Exxon and Mobil, they used to be the same company. And Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp are all owned by Meta. What we're going to do here is reveal the hidden blueprint that connects all of these industries. And the main idea is this. The system isn't Standard Oil. The system is the method. And that method has been copied and perfected for over a century. So to really get a grip on the method, we have to understand the man. John D. Rockefeller wasn't just some historical figure, a caricature of a robber baron. He was a brilliant, disciplined, and utterly ruthless architect who designed an enduring system of control. This is a man whose personal philosophy really shaped the DNA of modern capitalism. Rockefeller's personality was this unique and potent combination. On one side, you have his father, Devil Bill Rockefeller, a literal con man who sold fake cancer cures. From him, John D. inherited an ice-cold ruthlessness. I mean, he could financially destroy a competitor's entire life and sleep like a baby that night, seeing it as just a logical business move. But then, on the other side, you have his devout Baptist mother, Eliza. She gave him this unshakable moral certainty. He genuinely believed that competition was a sin, that it was wasteful and chaotic. He saw his quest for a monopoly not as greed, but as a moral duty, almost a divine calling to bring order to the world. And that fusion of predatory instinct and righteous conviction, it created a man who could build an empire without a single shred of doubt. Okay, now we get to the core of it. It's time to break down the 5 key mechanisms Rockefeller engineered to build his monopoly. And listen, this isn't just a history lesson. This is like looking at the source code, the fundamental operating system for corporate dominance. It's a blueprint that is just as powerful today as it was in the 1880s. So here they are, the 5 pillars of the Rockefeller system: vertical integration, horizontal consolidation, the trust, regulatory capture, and philanthropic legitimacy. Now, each one of these is a powerful tool all by itself, but when you combine them, you create a nearly unbreakable structure of market control. This blueprint is so effective, it has been copied, adapted, and rolled out by pretty much every dominant corporation for the last 150 years. Let's dig into each one. First up, vertical integration. So while all his competitors were just focused on refining oil, Rockefeller was playing a much bigger game. He decided to own every single step of the process. He bought forests to make his own barrels, immediately slashing the cost of a barrel from $2.50 down to under $1. He built his own warehouses, his own distribution depots, and, this is the crucial part, he bought his own fleet of railroad tank cars. He then used his massive shipping volume to cut secret deals with the railroads. They didn't just give him a huge discount, they actually paid him a kickback on every barrel his competitor shipped. It was brilliant. This didn't just make him more efficient, it turned the entire industry's infrastructure into a weapon against his rivals. Okay, so next, with those unbeatable cost advantages locked in, Rockefeller moved on to horizontal consolidation. This is the systematic elimination of every single competitor. He perfected this method in 1872 during what's now known as the Cleveland Massacre. He went to all 26 of his rival refinery owners in the city with a very simple choice. Sell your company to me at this price, or I will start a price war that will bankrupt you, and then I'll just buy your company for pennies on the dollar at the auction. Most of them sold. A few tried to fight back. They all lost. In just 3 months, Rockefeller took over 25 of the 26 refineries. This offer or destroy model became the blueprint for how you conquer an industry. By the 1880s, Rockefeller had a national monopoly, but he had a legal problem. Back then, state laws stopped a company in, say, Ohio from owning other companies in other states. So what did he do? His lawyers invented a brilliant legal workaround, the trust. In 1882, the Standard Oil Trust was born. All the shareholders of 41 different companies across the country handed their stock over to a small board of 9 trustees. In return, they got trust certificates. And just like that, those 9 guys, led by Rockefeller, controlled everything as one single entity. The trust itself didn't produce any oil, it just owned and controlled everything else. This legal trick is the direct ancestor of the modern holding company. When you look at Alphabet, which is Google's parent, or Meta, Facebook's parent, you're looking at the corporate descendants of Rockefeller's 1882 invention. Rockefeller also figured out a profound truth about power. It's way easier to write the rules of the game than to just play by them. He basically mastered what we now call regulatory capture. He lobbied politicians constantly and worked with railroads to create these complex regulations, things like safety standards or intricate shipping rates that looked totally neutral on the surface. But in reality, they were perfectly tailored so that only his massive, vertically integrated company could meet them. It effectively turned the government's own rulebook into a giant wall that his smaller competitors just couldn't climb. And of course, this tactic is now perfected by huge industries, from finance to pharma, where giant corporations often help write the very rules that are supposed to police them. And finally, after decades of being the most hated man in America, Rockefeller pulled off his final and maybe his most brilliant move: philanthropic legitimacy. In 1913, he created the Rockefeller Foundation. Now, on the surface, it looked like the greatest act of charity in human history, but underneath, it was a strategic machine. First, it let him pass his enormous wealth down through generations while dodging the new estate taxes. Second, by funding places like the University of Chicago and Johns Hopkins, he could shape public policy and research. In fact, his funding helped push the 1910 Flexner Report, which completely remade American medical education to favor a drug and surgery-based model, a model that the chemical companies descending from Standard Oil were perfectly positioned to profit from. And third, it bought him a whole new public image, masterfully transforming him from a ruthless robber baron into a visionary, beloved benefactor. Okay, so now that we have the 5-part blueprint down, let's see how it's running in the 21st century. We can draw these incredibly straight lines from each of Rockefeller's tactics to the core strategies of today's corporate giants. The names have changed, the industries have changed, but as you're about to see, the playbook is almost identical. The only real difference is the technology. Just look at Amazon. It's a perfect modern clone of the Rockefeller system. Vertical integration. Rockefeller owned the barrel makers and tank cars. Amazon owns its massive network of fulfillment centers, its own global logistics network, and, get this, Amazon Web Services, or AWS. That's the cloud computing infrastructure that many of its own retail competitors have to pay to use. It's the modern version of Rockefeller owning the railroads his rivals shipped on. And horizontal consolidation? Rockefeller used predatory price wars. Amazon uses its own marketplace data to see which products are selling well, creates its own nearly identical Amazon Basics versions, and then promotes its own product above the original. It is the Cleveland Massacre, but digitized and automated. And the scale of these modern monopolies, it's just staggering. I mean, at its absolute peak, Standard Oil controlled about 91% of oil refining in the US. That number made it the most feared monopoly in history. While today, Google controls 92% of the global search market. That's a higher concentration of power in a critical global industry than even Rockefeller himself ever achieved. He would have loved the business model. It's a monopoly so complete, so woven into our lives, you don't even realize you're paying. Because the price isn't your money. The price is your data, your attention, and your behavior. So, what happens when the government actually tries to step in? In 1911, the Supreme Court famously ordered the breakup of Standard Oil into 34 separate companies. It was seen as this huge victory for the little guy. But here's the crazy part. Rockefeller kept his ownership stake in all 34 of the new baby Standard companies. As they started competing with each other, they became even more profitable, and their combined stock value went through the roof. Rockefeller's personal wealth tripled, making him the world's first billionaire. And then, over the next 100 years, those pieces just quietly started to reassemble. Standard Oil of New Jersey and New York merged to become ExxonMobil. Standard Oil of California became Chevron. Standard Oil of Ohio was bought by BP. The monopoly was never really destroyed. It was just reorganized, only to merge back together into the giants that dominate the energy market today.
And this brings us to the central conflict of the Rockefeller system, and really the main reason it's so darn durable. The system is, at the exact same time, incredibly efficient for us as consumers and incredibly extractive for the economy as a whole. And to really navigate our world, you have to understand both sides of that coin.
Yeah, this really lays out the dilemma. The system sticks around because it gives us real, undeniable convenience. Standard Oil's ruthless efficiency dropped the price of kerosene by 86%. For the first time, millions of working-class families could afford light in their homes. Today, Amazon delivers almost anything you want in 2 days, and Google gives you an instant answer to any question. That convenience is powerful. But there's a cost. The average American household spends more than $16,000 every single year on companies that run on the Rockefeller playbook. That's for gas, tech, healthcare, finance, you name it. And over a lifetime, that adds up to more than $600,000 of wealth transferred from individual families to these massive corporations. So the system works, but the benefits flow down to us as convenience, while our wealth flows relentlessly upward as capital. So what do you do? Given this reality that you are living inside this self-perpetuating system that's almost impossible to escape as a consumer, how do you respond? Well, this analysis really points to 3 distinct choices, 3 paths you can take once you see the architecture for what it is.
Okay, the first choice is to just accept it. Enjoy the convenience, buy from Amazon, search with Google, and just accept that wealth concentration is a baked-in feature of modern capitalism. The second choice is to actively resist it. That means supporting antitrust efforts, deliberately buying from small, local businesses, even if it's more expensive or less convenient, and using your voice to push for policies that challenge monopoly power. And then there's a third choice, which is a bit different. It's to understand the system so deeply that you can actually position yourself within it, to shift from just being a subject of the system to being a beneficiary.
Now, before we break down this third option, I do have to add a necessary note. The information discussed in this video is strictly for educational purposes only and does not constitute professional advice. Learn and Invest is a listener and reader-supported podcast. To receive new episodes and support our work, consider becoming a free or paid subscriber. Have feedback? Please email us at gabriel.ajak@hotmail.com and include the title of this series in the subject line. Okay, so this position within strategy. It's all about pattern recognition and putting your capital to work. If the system is designed to extract wealth and concentrate it into these dominant companies, well, the most pragmatic response is to own a piece of those companies. That's what the LAGI framework is all about. First, you learn the 5 mechanisms so you can see them everywhere. Then you invest, not by trying to pick stocks, but by systematically owning the whole market through broad index funds, which hold all the big players by default. You own the whole system. Then you earn by letting compound interest and dividends work their magic over decades. You let the system's own power work for you. And this allows you to build real generational wealth so you can ultimately give from a position of abundance. In short, you own the extractors instead of just being extracted from. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with 3 questions to think about. First, now that you can see this 150-year-old system, how does that change your view of the modern economy? Second, where do you personally see that trade-off between convenience and wealth concentration playing out in your own life, your own habits? And finally, which of those 3 strategic responses we talked about, accept, resist, or position within, which one really aligns best with your own personal values and financial goals? So let's wrap it up. The core idea is this: John D. Rockefeller didn't just build a company, he built a system, a method of corporate control that has outlived him, outlived his company, and now forms the very architecture of our economy. It's a system built on those 5 pillars: vertical integration, horizontal consolidation, trusts, regulatory capture, and philanthropic legitimacy. And the key takeaway is this: you can't really escape this system. It's embedded in everything, but you can see it. And understanding how it works, recognizing that pattern, that is the first and most critical step to navigating it effectively. Thank you for your most valuable asset, your time. As always, learn and invest.